See how I cracked my phone on a weight?
On a weight?
On a weight.
Did you drop a weight on it, or did you drop the phone on the weight?
I slammed my phone into a weight. I was reaching back to grab my phone. I was on the rower. I reached back, popped it right on because, at Hartzell, the machine row or the plate loaded row is right next to the overhead machine, plate loaded overhead press. That tree that was sitting out had weights on it, and I just slapped it right into it.
Hell yeah.
And now I'll wait for it to pop up. And the light comes on. Normally the light comes on because I've got there it is.
I thought Androids were indestructible.
Fuck no. No phone is indestructible unless it's a Nokia.
The brick?
The brick, yeah. Yeah, you could throw those in a pool.
I played a lot of Snake back in the day.
Me too. Long car trips, I'd be like, Mom, give me the phone. Play Snake. There was one other game that I remember, but I can't remember.
Let me tell you something really lame about me. I get car sick. I can't play games.
Oh, man. I was playing games in the car since I was a kid, and shoot, I remember when my little sister was being born, my dad gave me a brand new game, and I was like, oh, sweet. I was sitting in there playing the game all the way down to the, she didn't want to do a hospital. I forget what they're called.
Midwife.
Yeah. She went to get delivered through midwives. She got born through midwives. We're not that.
Y'all definitely are that hick.
that was very much just a slip. But anyway,
got born.
Man, so people that I work with on the opposite shift of me, some of them are just not very smart. So we're doing inventory, right? And we have to input sheets of information that we get into an Excel file.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense.
Right? So he goes in and he I assume is doing most of this correctly. This last week was terrible, and there was a lot of errors on the input side that I found all week and fixed, obviously, because I'm the only one responsible enough to fix it. But when he would, so we're supposed to take these papers that we get and put them in our boss's office, little box so she can keep them stored. You have to keep them stored for 4 years or something. Any records like this. He leaves them there, first of all, which is just lazy. Yeah. But he leaves a sticky note on there, and it says, inputted. He put it in the information. I was like, and I looked at my boss.
You're just wrote entered, or
he could have
just input.
He could have put input, entered, logged, finished, done. It's so simple. That would have made more sense. And I looked at my boss and I showed it to her. She was just kind of like, And I was like, he inputted it. He put it in, and she just rolled her eyes so hard. And I was just like, these are your day shift people. Where the main boss walks around on day shift.
Has been entered, has been put in. Those are things that are acceptable. Done, finished. You can even use a different language if you want.
Right?
Just make sure.
Finito. I don't really know any other.
I don't either, but still. But not inputted.
Not inputted. For the record, guys, inputted is not in the English language.
You know what drives me crazy? You see it on social media all the time, and you see it on serious posts. How few people know the difference between woman and women.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
And then you have grammar Nazis expecting people to get you, your, and your right.
Right.
And it's very, very simple.
You are.
Youer is you are. It's the apostrophe R-E. Yep. Your.
Belonging to
you. Or you. Super, super simple. People really struggle with there, and there.
Mm-hmm.
There is a different word than there and there.
Mm-hmm.
It's there.
Yep.
There's almost two syllables. It's like a faux syllable.
There.
They are. Yeah, exactly.
There.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
they
there.
Are.
There.
Yeah, exactly. It matters.
But they interchange it all.
But you know what? Another one people trip up on, they don't understand? Sell and sell.
Yep. I've seen that one before.
It's very simple. SALE is the noun. SELL is the verb.
Super.
You are selling something or something is on sale. It's not hard. You can be for sale, as in it is put up for the action of selling, which makes it a sale, which makes it an SALE. Or you were actively selling something, which is SELLING.
And that was your grammar lesson today for all you people who need it.
I got another one.
You got more?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You got to rant about this.
When you talk to me, it's obvious I'm a pretty big hick. I don't really care about my grammar when I'm actually speaking, but if you ever get a text message from me, unless I'm in a really big hurry, I try to use like appropriate words and punctuation. Sometimes I'll send things without punctuation. It just is what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But
autocorrect doesn't get it in time.
When I was in college, I edited the school newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very good at like AP style writing. AP is a little bit different than like normal English style writing in that, you know, you get quotations on titles instead of underlining, but everything still gets all proper words pretty much as long as they're not an or the or they get capitalized.
Yeah.
I have a friend that's near and dear to me, and he's a very smart man. He's an engineer by trade, but he has recently started writing for a local organization, and apparently he does not know AP style writing. Sent me an article he wrote about something I may or may not have been involved in, and like half the titles lowercase.
Oh,
and I'm like,
no,
please don't.
Please fix this. Don't submit this yet.
I didn't have the heart to say anything, but it was like, damn. He's actually writing for
a newspaper,
for a real organization. Yeah. And I'm like,
I don't know if they actually sell a newspaper. But
we should. They definitely spread the news, though.
Yeah.
We should take more care to make sure it's appropriate. AP, Associated Press style writing, is what AP stands for.
Yeah, I was just a big like fucking nerd as a kid on the computer, so I was like always typing, and I was like real picky about grammar.
I think in terms of the way we talk, it's just part of our culture, and I think it's endearing. Like I learned that, I learned a lot, not be near as much of a snot about that when I moved to Philadelphia and realized that my Southern accent was actually kind of a cool thing. It's not cool to us because everybody has one, but like when you go to other parts of the country, like
people are like, oh, hey,
yeah, you know, it's recognizable, it's cool, it's just part of who we are. But like when you're communicating the written word, it's very, very important to be somewhat intelligent about how you do that. Maybe it's just my opinion, but.
I was thinking about another one, and now I can't remember what it was. I see it all the time, and it's just like super simple. I'll probably remember it later, but anyway. Show before the show. Grammar lesson show.
Grammar things that make my head hurt.
Just read literally any post by any random person on social media. It's probably going to be.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have multiple prepositions in a sentence either, but I mean, we all do that.
Now you're getting a little too snobby for me.
If it's separated by a semicolon, technically, a semicolon, remember, separates two things that could be put as two separate sentences. Then it's okay. But you got to know when to use your colons and semicolons and commas and apostrophes.
Punctuation is important. Yeah. There's a meme or
quit clubbing baby seals.
Quit clubbing baby seals.
Talks about the importance of the comma. If you put quit clubbing, comma baby seals, you're telling the baby seals to quit clubbing. If you just write quit clubbing baby seals, it's quit beating the hell out of baby seals. Like it matters. Yeah. Man boobs are great. Like man. Comma, boobs are great. You're exclaiming, man, boobs are great. You say man boobs are great, then you're saying man boobs are great.
I don't know many people that enjoy man boobs, but
but that comma makes all the fucking difference.
It does change the intent of the sentence.
It absolutely does. Yep. Think about
oh man. Guys. Well, I guess welcome to the Sip It and Rip It podcast.
I'm Zach. He's Nathan.
I am Nathan. You can find us on socials at Nathan Skedios, at Coleman Barbell, at Sip It and Rip It. Yep,
on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube. You can subscribe on all of those, rate us 5 stars, leave comments, tell us we suck, tell us we're great. We don't really care as long as we get that 5-star rating.
Exactly.
So
that's all we want.
say mean things.
I would love to see. I'd love to see a review that was actively like mean. And I know the perfect person to do it, Boston Blair,
Yeah.
but actively just mean, but 5 stars. It's like worst podcast ever. The hosts are uninteresting, ugly, stupid. They don't know what they're talking about.
But I loved it.
But I love every minute of it. 5 stars. Keep going, guys. I actually picked on him a little bit the other day because I was talking about the little back and forth between Brianni and Christy Hawkins.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on with that." And I was like, "You would if you listened to the podcast." And he was like, "Bro, I do listen to the podcast." And I'm like, "Then what do you mean? You wouldn't know what's going on? We had a whole episode about it."
We did.
Like,
It is what it is.
I just like picking on him.
I mean, I'm of the opinion that a lot of people, maybe even including myself, I put it on podcasts a lot of times with background noise.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, some things I listen to more intently than others.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes,
the way I am.
That's just as the way it is.
When I'm driving to work is when to the gym and to work. That's when I listen to most of my podcasts. And if it's something really interesting or really funny or like something I'm interested in, I'll pay more attention to it. But sometimes it is just background noise.
So, talking about Zach needs to go on a diet. This week was my birthday week. Well, actually, a week from today was my birthday. So, last Sunday, Sandy made me a red velvet cake. I ate the whole thing in quarters and a quarter at a time. A round red velvet cake. Homemade icing, homemade cake, the whole 9 yards. It was also funfetti red velvet because I decided that there's no reason for red velvet cake not to be more fun, and it should be funfetti too. So it got chocolate sprinkles in it that you couldn't see, but they were there, and it made it more fun.
I bet it tastes really good.
It was great. It was amazing. I've eaten 3 packs of Oreos this week.
Damn.
The whole fucking packs. Probably several gallons of milk.
Like regular Oreos, double stuff.
Double stuffed, black and whites, and regular golden, double stuffed golden. But
Goldens are good though.
Yeah, goldens are amazing. Ate my body weight in gummy candy. Had more alcohol than I cared to admit this week.
Was a lot of this gifts?
Yeah, it was all gifts. I mean, I got a literal bag full of Oreos from one person. So Zach actually does need to go on a diet. I may be knocking down 300 plus right now. Whew. My all-time high is 302, and I bet I'm probably knocking it down right now. Carbs put it on me, son.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Fast.
The thing about it is I'd had a very similar situation where I was like, when I was doing my bulk, I was staying at 250-ish. I couldn't stand to eat more food, like clean food.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'll just throw in some junk food and I'll probably gain the weight. So I like got a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks where I was like eating Little Debbie's, like Swiss rolls, oatmeal cream pies, zebra cakes. There was one other. It was the little, what are they called? Nutty Buddies.
Yeah.
I got to a point where I was eating like 2 or 3 of them at a time. Man, I put on weight so fast. That was when I got to 260, and I was like, I'm fat. I need to
I'll be
weight.
honest. I bet I'm 285 before this week's end. But boy, it makes me balloon up. Like so much so that when I'm off this performance enhancing dose, like I probably am actually genuinely going to cut.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Like honestly. And then, I sent you a post a while back talking about powerlifters really shouldn't be fat. And he was talking about just bulking and cutting 10% of your body weight. Well, 10% is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot less intimidating than saying I have to go to 240.
Right.
10% is me going from 300 to 270 right now. 270 is my normal walking around weight. Like I can get to that.
Easy.
Yeah, super easy. So like, I'm probably actually going to start putting my best foot forward in terms of cuts and bulks because I do not want to be a super heavy.
Yeah. Speaking of,
I don't really want to be a 308, but if I'm going to do it, I'll be a healthy one.
Right. I am down to 249 as of
11 pounds in a 1 week cut.
2 weeks.
2 weeks cut.
2 weeks. It was like 7 pounds of water, right?
Yeah,
and then the rest of it has been coming off pretty slow. But I feel pretty good. Other than being stupid this past Monday and pulling really heavy for no fucking reason. Other than I just wanted to see what I could do. After the meet, which we'll talk about, I was just kind of like, man.
You inspired to touch something heavy?
Yeah. I pulled 655 and I was like, that felt good.
which happens to be an unpeaked weight that happens to also be Austin's heaviest deadlift of his peaked prep.
Well, he pulled 675 at the meet.
Yeah, no, I'm just telling you what his peak prep says.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm unpeaked, unprepped. This was literally, I felt good that day, and I was like, I just kind of want to see what I can pull. And I attempted 700, and I broke it off the floor, and then I started feeling something in my left leg, and I just dropped it, and I was like, I'm not getting hurt over this.
Yeah.
Like that was my whole thing. I was like, I'm not going to grind it. It's not worth getting hurt over, but if I can pull
If it goes, it goes.
Yeah. And I can honestly say if I was not in a cut, I would have gotten it.
That bodes well for September.
Oh, yeah. Or October.
October, whatever it is. Yep.
Yeah, close to the end of October. It's actually the weekend before my birthday.
Good.
So taking that Friday off and then to get there, and then I'm taking the rest of that week off the following week. So, but yeah, that's kind of getting into gym stuff, but
yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, we're drinking pineapple and Malibu today. Nothing fancy.
Nothing fancy, but tasty.
Very tasty.
Yours is topped with Snake Handler.
Mine is topped with an IPA. If y'all haven't done a really dry IPA on top of a fruity drink, it actually is pretty outstanding. I recommend it on a margarita before this, but it's really good on this too.
Yeah, I liked it. It was a lot thicker. It was a lot heavier.
Yeah, it does provide some body to a fruity drink.
Yeah, that's a better word, body.
Yeah, but it's good. Yeah. Gym this week, you hit the 55-pound deadlift.
Yeah, and then pretty minor stuff after that because I didn't want to go wild, so I had to skip a couple days, try and let it heal up. Went to bench, had a good bench day. As far as hypertrophy goes, I hit 315 for a couple sets of 10, and then I hit 345 for an easy triple, and then I called it there, did my accessory work. Didn't have any issues with leg drive, so I knew my leg was getting better. I did my bodybuilding pump day, whatever you want to call it, the next day because I didn't want to squat yet, which did have some leg press in it. No, that was my bench day. My bench day had leg press in it. And kind of wiggled around, tried to find a good spot that was comfortable. Found some good information, some good feedback from the leg press, which I think is going to be my main squat variation for my prep, or not my prep, my off season. And then my main squat's going to be SSB, which I did yesterday. Which the best thing about that was that the best thing about the whole getting hurt was that I didn't go very heavy, and I focused on technique, trying to find a way to squat that didn't hurt. As mostly didn't hurt my back and my knees because that's been the biggest struggle. So I kind of just like found a good feet placement, found a good toe placement, kind of just playing around with it. Really, what really helped me was, like we talked about, I think last time we may not have been on the podcast when we talked about it, but no, we were. Loose knees, like not being overly out. And then really pushing my hips forward and tightening my glutes and bringing my ribs down. That positioning made me feel so much better and so much stronger that my butt wink was basically gone. Like the only thing you could see was a little bit of pushback when I came up, which I was really excited about. Everything else looked perfect, and my knees didn't hurt, my back didn't hurt. Now this was only 280, and it was only for like 5 or 6 reps. I wasn't going crazy because I was going to hurt myself if I did, which I found out because I tried to do kickstand squats the same day, and it was like, nah, you're going to get hurt if you do that. So I pulled back on that and did some accessory work, but it was a very productive week.
Good. I had my grandfather's funeral on Monday, had to go press late, hit 385 in a Larson, which is for 2, which is
gnarly.
Pretty gnarly. Yeah. Not mad about it at all. I do think the 13 weeks of Larson press that I'm in the middle of currently, has allowed me to discover that, have a really strong and really capable core, but I think it's led me to believe that I don't use enough leg drive in my actual bench, because there's no way in shit that your best double with your feet down and your best double with your feet up should be the same number.
Yeah.
Now, albeit I could have very easily gotten stronger in that time.
Yeah.
And I did miss, I hate calling it a miss groove, but I did miss 405 for a double on a miss groove with my feet down. There again, if I was stronger, it wouldn't have been a misgroove.
Right.
But so it does stand to reason that I am stronger with my feet down, but I may be utilizing leg drive and a real bench.
Right.
But still, I mean, it bodes pretty well for my bench press for sure. Shouldn't have done it. It was out of pocket, but I did take 405 Friday.
With a Larson?
With a Larson, and missed it about halfway up. Also have not really a strain started, but just some aches and pains kind of started my chest and shoulders that made me not want to fight with it.
Right.
So when it didn't go, I was like, grab it.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. 515 for an easy single beltless yesterday on deadlift, which is not a heavy deadlift for me, but it was pretty cool to do it beltless. And then 375 for a beltless single on squat, which actually is a PR because I never squat beltless.
Right.
But the most important thing of that, a lot like what you were saying with your squat, me and you were kind of in the same, for different reasons, but me and you were in the same vein of trying to figure things out with our squat. And it was 100% pain-free, no hip problems, no lower back problems, no knee problems. I don't really have a knee problem so much as I just have a little bit of tendonitis that flares up in my left knee.
Right.
And it seemed to be good. And all that comes from, I've kind of swapped things out. I am over tightening my back now, getting my ribs set really well. And then my hips and knees, compared to what I used to drive them out, I'm not like thinking about that at all.
Right.
I just completely fucking loose knees and hips. And it's like wildly different how much better my squat is. And it's like muscle memory too, because like we said, like if you've practiced getting your knees out and everything like that, like we have, like I'm not seeing any knee valgus. Like mechanically, it looks the same as if I was like over exaggerating these things. And it's like, I don't know, it's a much more fluid and greased groove, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't feel as grindy. It just doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Like, don't know what to tell you, but there is something to, I think as coaches, and I've thought about this a lot because it's not bad information, but I think as coaches, we tend to want to make people over exaggerate things because we know they're doing it right at that point. I think beyond a certain skill level, though, you have to realize that people are athletes and that body mechanics and just muscle memory and just overall awareness will take over for somebody if they're well practiced.
Right.
Maybe those things are still really, really good to just hammer into a new person. But like after they've been practiced a long time, like basically what was happening is I was torquing my knees out so much and so aggressively in the squat and the deadlift that it was causing a hip impingement actively through my squat and deadlift.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, it does. Because, I mean, when you do that, you do change the geometry of your hips, your hip sockets and stuff. So,
yeah, because if you even just stand here and push your knees out, you can feel you can feel a big difference, especially if you bring your knees forward.
So I think there's something to be said for that. And I've never thought in a million years I would say you could be too tight for something. But a good example I gave a few weeks ago when we first started experimenting with this is I've never been one to be able to over tighten on a bench press and bench press well or bench press pain free.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I've always like kind of had to take bend the bar, set this, set that with a grain of salt on bench press because like when I over tighten, it does change. Again, it changes the geometry of your shoulders and it causes me pain. Well, I'm bench press perfectly safe without those things, with pretty good technique without those things. Like at some point, muscle memory takes over. Like me and you both have enormously strong backs. Like I know my lats are doing what they're supposed to do in a bench press.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like without having to
focus on it.
Yeah. So.
And that may be a thing, right? Because at a certain strength level, these muscles that are supporting, not necessarily actively working, but are supporting your lift, if they're strong enough, you may be pushing yourself into a weird position by doing that because they may be pulling so hard that it changes the way.
This is going to be a hot topic in powerlifting, but because mobility is incredibly important. But you know what the opposite of mobility is?
Immobility.
Stability.
Yeah.
And that's something I didn't realize, like from a scientific standpoint, until I'm in PTA school.
Yeah.
I was reading through PTA literature, and I'm just in an intro class now, not in the program now. But they were like, you can actually be hypermobile to a detriment. Like,
Yeah.
if you're hypermobile, that probably means you lack stability in that joint. Well, me and you, based on my Faber test, know that my hips are hypermobile.
Yep.
So, like, I don't know, like training some things that require some stability. I've been doing a lot of pistols and stuff like that. It requires you to have your knee over your toe. It can't track in. Like, you'll fuck up if you do those things.
Yep.
It takes a lot of strength in your glute med, stuff like that. And it stiffens up your hips. That's benefited my squat dramatically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because I can squat without having to force things out and without having like this over exaggerated posture in my squat.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that and still have the stability in my hips to put things where they need to go, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, something to think about.
Yeah. And I think too, because looking at it like from a coaching perspective, these people that are new don't know these things. So in your head, it's kind of like you drill it. And in your head, you're like, well, I got to drill it too, because I can't tell these people do one thing and do another.
And all of a sudden it becomes
detrimental at some point. Yeah.
I think that goes to show you that everything's right until it's wrong.
Yep.
Like, we talk about that all the time. Like, I mean, the only absolute in fitness is calories in, calories out.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
People are still trying to dispute that too.
Yeah, people still try to dispute that. But, I mean,
to their own detriment, but they do. So, you got some PR songs?
Yeah, I may.
I know I have some, if I can remember where I put them, because my brain is like outer space right now. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. That's not it.
This kind of a little genty like deathcore, metalcore really. There's a band called Defocus. I have a song I put on my playlist recently called Crooked Mind. It's pretty smooth. It's pretty badass song. Listen to it. Oh, I have 3 today.
You have 3? Oh,
yeah, let me go ahead and my next one.
I just found the one that I was looking for, because I was like, there's one that just came out, and it is Pantheon by Ingested.
Okay.
It's super
I like
good.
Ingested. So.
Ingested's really good.
Yeah.
I really liked it. It was cheer.
My next one is the new Knocked Loose single. The album's coming out later this year. Is Blinding Faith by Knocked Loose. That song fucking rips. I have a friend of mine that's really big hardcore fan, and he's like, man, this isn't hardcore anymore. I'm mad about it. I'm like, I think I like it more because it's more metal.
It's more metal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair.
And then I made the joke that the fun difference between metal and hardcore is metal guys know that they're cheesy and they embrace it. And hardcore guys
think they're hardcore.
Hardcore guys are cheesy and think they're tough.
Yeah.
But they're absolutely just as cheesy, probably worse so. Yeah, that's my first 2.
I got one more I'll go ahead and put, but it is Ruina by Bleed From Within. I don't know if you've listened to Bleed From Within before.
Not in a long time.
They're typically pretty metalcore, but that song was pretty heavy, and I really enjoyed it.
Hell yeah, man. I'm about it. I had another one, and I've forgot what it is. Oh, I remember now. It's on my playlist. What's the name of this fucking band? You'll find it. That's the hard thing to do. The Gloom in the Corner is the name of the band, and the name of the song is Witch Hunt.
What about it?
It's just fucking awesome. You need to listen to it.
I'll have to check it out.
So, fucking great breakdown call out in that song. I forget what the exact line was. Otherwise, I'd give it to you. Y'all know I would, but fucking awesome. The Gloom in the Corner, Witch Hunt.
The Gloom in the Corner. That sounds...
Most of their stuff's dog shit. I can't lie to you.
Oh, really?
That one song's fucking awesome, though.
Well, there are a lot of bands like that. One-hit wonders, we call them.
I'll be honest. It's not a PR song, but... and I really don't like their music because I think their production is fucking awful. And they're really not that creative in terms of musicianship, but the new Slaughter to Prevail song, Conflict, is pretty cool because Alex the Terrible is just that fucking good. I'm a little annoyed by this new era of vocal-driven deathcore because it's a musician's genre, and I think it sucks to some degree that vocalists are getting all this attention in a musicians-driven genre.
Right.
But that's one guy that deserves it. He does things that are just inhuman.
Yeah.
And they can say what they want to about Ramos or whatever from Lorna Shore. Alex the Terrible would, like, He's 50 times better than that guy.
I really like Alex the Terrible.
Yeah,
he's pretty great. Like, and that's another thing too, is like he's got a pretty big social media following for a deathcore vocalist.
Yeah, because the stuff he does is legitimately inhuman.
Yeah.
Like, there was a comment made, I think, by Nick Nocturnal. He's like a guitar player that's real big on the internet. About he was asking Alex the Terrible if he triple tracked something. Like did 3 different vocal parts for one vocal section of a new song, and he's like, no, that's just me one time, and he does it live away from a mic, and I'm like, oh fuck,
right?
Like this really is like depths of hell. Like this is like completely like not okay, like inhuman. Like there's no way this is like physiologically possible, and like it's crazy. It really does sound like 3 different voices. Like there's definitely 3 different harmonic content. Song? Yeah.
Maybe I haven't heard it yet. I know I put it on my playlist because when it came out, I saw it and I was like, I got it.
He's immensely talented. I wish that his band was, I just wish the music was more interesting.
Yeah.
Like I'm still like a Cannibal Corpse fan, so I want some like technical prowess in my death metal.
Right.
So like, and then like the new Aborted dropped and they're great musicians. That vocalist is like mid in my opinion, but like the band fucking rips. So like, I'm still like, I want instrumentally driven things, but like, Alex the Terrible really makes that fucking band, dude. He's fucking good. Oh, yeah. It's so rare for me to say that about a vocalist of any kind.
But he does. So he also brings a certain energy too, just like on stage. Like I've never seen them live in person, but like watching videos of him live, he's just like
lyrics are lacking. But I'll be honest with you, I think that's the language barrier. Yeah, like his American lyrics are very cheesy. But he's Russian,
right?
So, I mean.
I'd prefer it if he spoke in Russian.
Me and you talked, yeah, I would too. Me and you talked about this though. There's nobody more proud to be an American than Alex the Terrible. Yeah. Like he is like legitimately proud to be here and live here now. Like,
he loves America. He really does.
Loves it, yeah.
He actually, I remember seeing a comment. Someone was like, "What would you do if America and Russia went to war and you got drafted?" And he's like, "Well, I'd go back. Like I have to. It's like required. I don't want to. And if this happens, like nobody wins, the world will end. But like that's just what's going to happen."
Yeah, he really is really proud to be here though, and he really does take care. He takes full advantage of all his civil liberties.
Yep.
And there's a reason he moved to Florida. When you were watching a video the other day, he's just got a sniper rifle like casually sitting on his kitchen counter, like giant fucking pit bull, like gun owner, lifts a bunch of heavy weights.
Yep.
Screams about Satan. It's really fucking cool. Super American.
Wrestles bears. Like there was a video of him wrestling.
Bare knuckle fighter.
Yeah.
That's BARE.
Well, he does both technically.
BAR and BARE.
He like the bear like got him. Like the bear was playing with him obviously, but the bear got him in the face and he was like bleeding. I was like, damn, bro. Like that's intense.
Dude's got some big fucking nuts, dude.
He does.
I can't lie to you. To be able to do some of the things he does without a microphone, too.
Yeah. Like
Clay Byram had told me that because he watched him live, and I was like, there is no way you hear this motherfucker over the band with no microphone. This is a fucking death metal show.
Yeah.
This is the loudest fucking thing. Outside of going to an NHRA funny car event, this is the loudest fucking thing in America. You can go fucking watch the death metal show. And he posts this stuff on Instagram and shit of him singing live.
Yep.
And I'm like,
oh shit. This is for real.
He does this without a microphone. Like, I can't fucking believe it. It's like
literally pull the microphone away.
50,000 people standing in front of him. You can hear him loud over everybody. The band, the crowd, it's fucking nuts. I don't know how he does it.
Inhuman.
He is. That's nerddom over with.
That's the music nerd portion. So topic this week is kind of like a variety, but it's mostly just talking about the past couple weekends because there's been a lot going on the past couple weekends. Biggest thing going on, which was this weekend, was the Arnold. And Animal Cage came back.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. There was a lot of really cool stuff that happened.
Hacks 915. You sent it to me.
Oh, Hack. Yeah, I thought you said Pat.
Hacks 915. Yep.
John Hack pulled 915.
Which is like only 10 pounds better than his best, but still.
Still fucking
crazy. Yeah, especially
almost
somebody that weighs 210 pounds when he's not, beat for meat. So
that's like almost a 5 times body weight pull. Like that's nuts. It's like 4.5 or something like that. Crazy.
Super crazy.
Hunter Henderson squatted 650 for 3 in reps. There was the Denise Herber and Brianni deadlift off, and I think Denise won. She pulled 630 something, and Brianni tore her hand open. It was really rough. Like
on 595, I think.
It might have been in the 600s.
I want to say it's 595. I watched that today, but
you could be right. I know it was like her second. I think it was her second lift.
They like even numbers there. It may have been 600 even.
May have been,
but it was something monstrous anyway, especially for a lady.
Yeah,
but
I think her best was 300 kilos, wasn't it? 661 wasn't that her best deadlift at the American Pro?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Still, it was very, very cool having that little battle.
Andy Wong squatted 800 for 2 or 3.
Yeah,
yeah, and like good depth. I can't remember the guy's name. The ginger guy that works out with Andy Wong comes back from double quad replacement or reattachment surgery and squats 700 for 2. But he had a 22 or 2,300 pound total in like less than a minute.
Right.
He doubled 700, pressed 550, and then deadlifted. He deadlifted 800 or 900 for 2.
It's nuts.
I don't remember what the number was, but it was still something just unfathomably ridiculous.
Right.
It was in straps, but like. It was some god awful. It's 2,000 plus pound total in less than a minute.
Right.
Like just from one lift to the other to the other.
You want to talk about some CrossFit circuits?
Yeah. That's a fucking circuit, son. Lucy Under's heaviest deadlift on the elephant bar by a woman of all time at 666.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Thor's RPE 5006 on the elephant
that was
bar.
Nuts. It was so fast.
And I know me and you actually talked about this, and I know you knew better after the fact, but like a lot of people's like, well, he's pulled 1104 before. Yeah, but he did it on a deadlift bar. The elephant bar is longer and whippier, but there's a point that all those things become a detriment, and the whip is no longer a big deal. So he had the previous record at 973, so he beat his own record by 33 pounds.
Yeah.
So
was he wearing a suit?
I think that they do wear briefs when they deadlift.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it doesn't provide the benefit like it does in squats.
No. Not at all.
But yeah, I think that they do wear briefs. And they do the strongman double belt. They do the soft belt and then the hard belt on top. That's their sport though. So
right.
I've still never seen the 1006 move faster.
No. Not taking anything away from the lift. Like, it was nuts.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
I think that's somebody he could definitely. I think in a powerlifting competition, he definitely deadlifts 1,000.
Yeah,
like raw on a regular deadlift.
Right. Julius Maddox bench press 730
for 2.
I think it was just for 1.
It may have been. I don't remember.
It wasn't his best, but it still
770 is his best.
Yeah, but it still moved well, which it was really cool to see. I mean, anytime he bench presses, it's ungodly.
I'm trying to think about who else I watched.
There were several that were out there. One of Joe's guys, I think Justin Zottel, he was there. He was doing squats. Can't remember how much it was though, but it was a big squat. I bet it's on his Instagram.
Did you watch any of the Arnold powerlifting meets? Did you watch XPC or USAPL or anything? I didn't either. Did you see Inez Carrasquillo or whatever, the strong woman, tripped and busted her face on the farmer's carry? Busted on the wooden frame. And boy, I'm gonna show this to Nathan. Y'all just need to look up Inez and look at her face after this trip and fall.
I bet it was rough.
But you don't even know. She finished the competition somehow. I don't know how. Did not do great because of this situation.
I imagine not.
Keep in mind, first picture is immediately after the accident.
Oof.
Pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
This is 1 day after.
Ooh.
This is 2 days after.
Oh, damn. That's rough.
Like serious, like hematomas, like.
That's brutal.
Bruised face. Like I've been rooting for this girl since she was a powerlifter and before she moved to strong woman, and she's just ridiculously strong. But definitely had a hell of a weekend considering, she, got her face fucking ripped off nearly on the fucking.
Yeah. And it was a 975 squat.
975. That was done by who? Zottel?
Yep.
But
I think he's either a 275 or a 308. I think he's a 308.
It goes to show you how strong these people really are before a cut and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what and what a water cut can do to somebody going into a powerlifting meet.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you really got like, it really takes like a lot of discipline and some just absolute fucking brass balls to be able to cut weight like some of these guys do to go and compete close to their full weight PRs.
Right.
I mean,
water cuts are getting much better than they were in the past, though. Like I said,
were, but like, I mean, it's like John Hack's 915. We're probably a couple years from seeing him do that in competition.
Potentially,
You know
we don't know though. I mean,
we don't know. I mean, but that was an RPE 10 deadlift. That's what I say about his. I mean, it was the most impressive because he's the lightest one that did it. But like, you know, it was
all he
effort,
had.
you know what I mean? But like, and he's probably walking around a good 10 to 15 pounds heavier than he does when he competes.
Yeah.
But still, it's pretty fucking gnarly lifts. And you pick somebody like Brianni's situation that she's in a bodybuilding block, right?
No, she's getting prepped.
Okay, she is?
No.
Well, she's in the middle of prep. Probably a long way away from a peak and still pull 600 is pretty fucking gnarly.
When is the ABS event?
I don't know.
I think it's in April.
I just had it, but I mean, she's still, you know,
it's still in prep.
She's still, it's not peaked yet. You know,
yeah.
Even if it's in April, she's got 7 weeks left.
Mm-hmm.
So, just saying, it's pretty monumental for what it was. So
yeah, it was really cool to see. I didn't watch any of the bodybuilding stuff. I can't lie, it's just not that interesting to me. I
would rather see them train and hear them talk about what they're doing than to see the actual sport itself.
The sport itself is just kind of like a beauty pageant. Like, I mean, I'm not shitting on it. If that's your thing, that's your thing. There are a lot of people who like beauty pageants, and I'm not calling it a beauty pageant to be like mean, but that's just kind of what it is.
Yeah, and I honestly think my biggest problem with the way that sport operates is I think it's unfair. I don't think that the people that work the hardest and look the best always get the best shake, to be honest with you. And I think that just is what it is.
Yep.
I mean,
and judge preference.
It is. I mean, it still comes down to human error and human opinion, whereas in powerlifting or strongman, if you're stronger than somebody, there's absolutely nothing that person can do about it. Yeah. It's absolute. Mm-hmm. And I think that's... I guess that's my hang up. But, me and you've talked 1,000 times on the show about the longer we're in powerlifting, the more and more bodybuilder we become. Mm-hmm. That's to preserve our health.
I think
more than anything, but
it's more about the training mindset, though, because bodybuilders train incredibly
hard and incredibly disciplined.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, like, when I'm going in here and I'm trying to lift through cutting carbs and stuff, I'm like, man, this sucks. Like, I can't imagine
these guys do it for 8-10 weeks at a time.
I can't imagine doing it all the time. Yeah. Like, consistently, like, training hard through, like, no carbs, which, I mean, I know, the bulk and the cut and the bulk and the cut, right? We're trying to get as big as we can, as lean as we can, as strong as we can.
Inside of a weight class.
Mm-hmm. But, man.
But they are, too. They're not strength doesn't matter, but they're still wanting to as much muscle mass as possible packed on into a certain height and weight class. Yep. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it matters. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the training philosophies in terms of building muscle, obviously, they're a lot further ahead of the game because they're masters of building mass. And there's something to be said for that. And we talk about it all the time, but gone is the day of a fat powerlifter winning. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like, there's a reason, even though I think it is particularly interesting, there's a reason why ABS or whatever is having a total only competition.
Right.
Because, I mean, we're going to continue to lose money to John Hack. Mm-hmm. If there's not some degree of separation, sometimes at least. But, like, you don't even have to take him. We talk about Dan Grigsby all the time. Dan Grigsby's a 275. He is the biggest, most fucking muscular, lean, healthy-looking 275 you can fucking imagine.
Yep.
Inside the 275 weight class. Larry Wheels at 308 was 6 weeks away from a bodybuilding stage.
Yeah. Basically,
all the time. Every time he competed, he held records in 4 weight classes at one point. Like, he was.
And when he competed 308,
I mean, that's the first person I saw like that. But you see more and more people winning. Joe's a good example. Mm-hmm. You see more and more people winning that have maxed out a frame and maxed out a weight class. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way it's going. I mean, I think raw powerlifting has taken us that way. One, because I think in multiply we had mass moves mass philosophy most of the time. You hear about that with Mark Bell talking about his past. Wilkes favored, a total over body weight a lot of the time. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into this, but I mean, you saw this weekend at the Arnold. I still can't think of his name, but the redheaded dude that lifts with Andy Wong, there's videos of him doing lateral raises like 100-pound dumbbells. You know what I mean? Like, but this guy's like, no, he's incredibly fucking heavy, and he doesn't look like he's incredibly lean. He doesn't look unhealthy.
Right.
You know what I mean? We talked about Tom Haviland at 330 pounds. You can see his hip bones.
Right.
He's that lean. You know what I mean? Like that's the way strength sports are going. I don't like it in strongman because I feel like it's strongman. Like it shouldn't, especially in heavyweight strongman divisions, it shouldn't favor the lighter, more athletic lifter because of the nature of what we're calling it.
Right.
Let's be honest with you. Right now, it's like CrossFit for fat guys. It's not really world's strongest man.
Fairness,
you know what I mean? Like
if you look at Bobby Thompson, he is like the most fit.
Yeah, he is.
And I think he was 5th today.
But so was Thor when he won it.
Yeah.
I mean, Thor was probably sub 20% body fat when he won, He was 440 pounds and had visible abs.
Right.
I mean,
I think all this is to say there's a reason why the healthier lifters are doing better.
Yeah, absolutely. He still wasn't 330-pound Mitchell Hooper, though.
Right.
Or 330-pound Martins, who, by the way, got fucking drugged this weekend. Yeah. That's the one strong man I will never root for. I can root for Half Thor before I root for Martins.
I mean, at least Half Thor is like, he may be a dick, but like...
He's made himself a villain, and that's who he is now.
Yeah, exactly.
He's The Rock in 1999.
You know what's really funny?
You know what I mean? That's who he is now.
You saying that, The Rock is back in WWE as a heel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been funny.
I bet it has.
He came back and he was like, I just remember him saying something like, there's a reason why all this is sold out. It's because I've made wrestling cool again. He's just like shit talking everybody. He called everybody crackheads and meth
they have
addicts.
A whole night dedicated to him. SmackDown. I mean, it's like his fucking name's.
That's his show.
Yeah, it's his fucking show.
Which now he's like a board director of TKO, which is the merger of WWE and UFC. Yeah. So that has a lot to do with why he's back. Sure. But it's been really fun. He's a great heel.
But like Half Thor has his place. Martin's is just hard to root for.
Yeah.
It's so hard to root for. It is what it is.
Switching gears just a little bit also this weekend was the North Central Regionals for the WRPF, which was pretty fun. It was 3 days. Today was the last day, so they did Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I caught the tail end of Saturday and the tail end of today, which is Sunday. And I really only saw the deadlifts, but I was looking at like numbers and stuff across the board. There's some strong people competing. I was telling you, there's a dude with the 540 dots and the 220s. I think they were saying that qualifies him for the American Pro.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's going to go or not, but it's pretty impressive to see regionals, because I was thinking nationals we'd see a lot more of that, right? But people are coming out for these regional competitions and like blowing it up. Which
I think
really
people know they got to get qualified for either Nats or the American Pro,
right?
Like if you're not going to nationals, you're going, right. If you're worth your salt, you're probably going to American Pro. So I mean, it is what it is. But what's the minimum qualifier for that? Like 530 for dots for American Pro.
540.
540 is the minimum. Yeah. So
540 was what I heard. Now that the list is on WRPF website, if you want to know. I think they were talking specifically about men's untested as 540. Okay. It probably changes between tested and untested, but I feel
like Lentini said that 470 was drug tested, because
that makes sense.
I think that he was trying to he was planning on being there this year too
at the American Pro.
You finish what you're going to say about North Central, but that's a pretty good segue into what I had going on before.
That was really it. It was just really cool to see. The setup was really good. Some of the prior regionals were badly ran, and I talked about that last time we were on the podcast.
You feel like they did a better job?
This one was much better, much easier to watch. They basically kept the camera on the lifter or on the platform the whole time. They didn't jump between. They didn't try and do anything fancy. They kept it on there. Lifters were coming in and out really fast. There was only like a couple of small breaks in between, not the flights, but the between lift seconds and thirds. Excuse me. It was like a 3-minute break, and then they had the lifters come back out. But they were going really fast. It looked like it was really well ran. So I'm really excited to see what Nationals looks like when we get there. I did just see this from the animal cage. Philip Herndon squatting 914 at 275. So I guess that means Zottel is 308 because he said it's the heaviest sleeve squat. Oh, well, he was in wraps, but he was in sleeve. Philip was in sleeves. Zottel was in wraps. 914 is apparently all-time heaviest sleeve squat in the world at 275. Now, I don't know if that's sanctioned because it's the animal cage.
Right. I don't think it would be because I know a lot of people deadlifted straps.
It's true.
Stuff, so.
But that just means that he can do it. So if he wants to do it,
right,
he could do it.
That's badass shit. I mean, it's one of the better events in strength sports, to be honest with you, in terms of like community and mixing the average lifter that's there for inspiration and everything else to, as a fan, and then also, people there in a much more serious sense there to fuck shit up. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and
Dr. Mike always goes. He always is in the crowd and he pulls people and just randomly talks to people, which is really, his video was really funny. I don't know if you saw it. It's like 4 or 5 minutes long. He's just randomly talking to people at the Arnold, whether they're anyone or not. Goob was on there. Sam Solik was on there. Some random people I think that were just fans of RP were there talking. It's really funny. He's just making people uncomfortable. It'd be a good event,
and I'm happy that it's not. At least I think it's the help of social media. I'm happy that it's less bodybuilding centric than it was 10 or 15 years ago.
Well, Arnold was a bodybuilder.
He was a bodybuilder. I mean, it's his sport, but they do a lot of things that aren't strength sports there too. So
they bring a ton of stuff. I
think they have dance competitions.
Do they?
I think so. They get pretty wild.
That's pretty interesting.
All things fitness, pretty much.
That's cool though. That it's really cool that it's kind of like. Was Fitspo a thing? Am I thinking of that?
So, yeah.
That was the fitness expo for the longest time, but the Arnold is just way better. It just seems like it's way more interesting.
It's the best blend of things. I mean, it's the second biggest strongman event in the world. I mean, behind World's Strongest Man.
Right.
And then, the Animal Cage is probably one of the bigger powerlifting events without it actually being a sanctioned event. Yeah. But I mean, used to, you had all of Ray Williams' big USAPL squats were always at the Arnold and shit like that too. You have a lot of stuff like that going on. And you had the XPC stuff. I don't know if the USAPL or if it's POA there now. I don't know who does it. But you just have a pretty big melting pot of all things fitness, to be honest.
And then there's vendors and stuff that giving free samples.
I don't know that CrossFit's represented. I'm not saying they shouldn't be. But if they are, it's not as big of a competition for them. I know they have the Rogue Invitational or whatever too. Yeah. So, it is what it is. But Rogue does a strongman event, so
they might just have their own thing.
I don't know, but I mean it's pretty fucking huge.
Yeah, I'd like to go one year just to go to see. Get the energy.
I wouldn't mind doing that too. And then there's the thought of what's the vacation to Columbus, Ohio like?
It's true.
It's kind of like fuck. February, you know what I mean?
March. So you can have some Skyline chili.
That's in Cincinnati, bro.
Cincinnati, never mind.
Been there, done that. Cincinnati's a cool town.
You're really just going for the Arnold and then you're leaving, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll find some interesting food.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't think they're known
it would be enough it's enough reason to go.
Yeah. Even if I would like to go, even if it was just for one day. It
is a football town, so I mean, it is a college town, so I mean, I'm sure there's great bars and great food and stuff. There always is in college towns, so there's probably plenty to do and see.
Yeah, but I'm sure. I've never been, so I don't think I've been to Ohio in general, any part of it. But I'd like to go just because I think it'd be a cool event.
Sure, but so we had the meet at the garage, the unsanctioned meet. We mentioned Lentini. He ended up winning the thing. I think he had a 468 dots. Austin had a 465.
Yep.
Point something, so it was 2.5 dots points he won by. He did really good. All his crews amazing. They were really, really helpful. I had a much different experience with them than I feel like a lot of people had that day with them, to be honest with you. But there wasn't anything but kind to me. There was I got a little chippy about mixed up results, but the mixed up results were my fault because Sandy openly said, I'm going to double check this before you announce it. And I announced it before she double checked.
Oh, okay.
So like if I'd have let her double check, Lentini would have been, there was some back and forth about whether or not here Austin won. And it was an error, a computing error.
Right.
Lentini definitely won. No doubt about it. But we had big money. It was $640 to each winner. So
that's a lot.
Andrew Armstrong won $640. Chris Lentini won $640. Some pretty big fucking lifts for a local meet.
Yeah.
Absolutely just monstrous bench presses.
Andrea's dots was like
540, but she normally competes in the is it 123 now?
I don't know.
She competes at like one I want to say 123.
She was like that small.
She was I think she was when I weighed her in, she was like 145.
Right.
So I mean,
that makes sense.
She had an 1,150 pound total.
Yeah.
Bench press 270. I mean, squat and deadlift was really impressive too, but a 270 pound bench press out of a 140 pound lady is like, she missed 2 times body weight.
Right.
I'll be honest with you, when she competes later in the year, she'll have that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then some, like it was really gnarly. Really good event in general. We're definitely going to do more. Money brought people out, dude.
Yeah, it definitely did.
And we didn't have that many competitors. We only had about 10, which was great because we only had to run one flight. We only had
10?
I think so. Yeah.
I felt like it was more than that.
Probably because we did all one flight.
Maybe so.
But $640 to the winner is no fucking joke. That's more than the fucking Texas bar they normally win.
Yeah.
If you're lucky
like
enough
maybe
to 300. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it was a pretty big thing. Definitely some things we could have done better. One of our spotters and loaders got their foot absolutely fucking obliterated.
Yep.
I saw the x-ray.
Damn. I was hoping that he just got knocked down, but
no, we're talking about, pins and screws, like a rebuild of his foot probably. So
that is very unfortunate.
That's very unfortunate. That was the one major accident. Josh did have a little shoulder issue on bench press. Really probably kept him out of it. If he hits that bench press, he's probably right up there with Austin.
Yeah.
He ended up with like a 430 dots. Josh is a lot heavier than the two of them. Josh also lifted a lot heavier than the two of them. So
he was the last squat, the last bench press. And
we had a 730 or 740 squat. 460 was his last good bench press. And then like a 600 his last deadlift.
I don't remember.
Deadlifts has always been modest, but if you've ever seen the man, he's built like a bowling ball. And that body build typically doesn't do as well on that as they do on squat and bench. But it's a monstrous fucking day.
His squat was nuts. It was so fast. Like
he has to be the most improved person there.
Yeah, he improved so much.
That's somebody that I used to coach that had struggled with depth. He always struggled with attempt selection. He did all 3 of those things right on all 3 lifts. Yeah. The only reason he didn't lock out that 500 pound bench press is because he
ripped his hand.
He fucked his shit up, and then he had a shoulder injury through that too. So
he showed me his hand afterwards. He dropped when he dropped it. Yeah. He had been having trouble locking it out as well. He was having trouble getting his shoulders behind his.
Talking about deadlift.
Yeah. So that may have been because of the shoulder injury that he wasn't able to completely lock out.
That's somebody that has real 2K potential. Yeah. I mean, he would have gone if he hits that last bench press. He goes 18. Yeah. So. He's a 308. He's a pretty talented dude. Yeah, he really is. He always has been. Austin's 1780 was fucking nasty though. Yeah, I don't think anybody made it look easier than Austin did.
He definitely
did not achieve the RP 9 on squat. I'll say that
he did not,
but he did on bench press. And
I don't know about the bench press. The bench press was a little slower than I expected it to be. If I'm being honest. There's the
heaviest weight he's ever touched. So I'll take it.
Yeah. No, man, he did great. Like his deadlift was super fast.
His deadlift got fucking torched.
I was like, bro, and he said it after the fact. He's like, I think I would have gotten 700 if I put it.
If I would have called up, we had some back and forth about it, and he said, "You're the one that said you wanted this to be an RP 9 day," and I did. Because he has bigger fish to fry this year, and just all there is to it. I didn't want him to. I didn't want him to hurt himself. Yep. But if I call up 685, he probably wins.
Yeah, because that's 10 pounds.
I don't know if that makes 2.5 points dots difference, but like one would assume it at least gets him a little closer. Yeah. What do we do in that situation if we have to have a lift off?
What do you mean?
I mean, what if they, if 10 pounds would have tied them, like, what do we do? You know what I mean? Like, split the money and call it a night, I guess. You know what I mean?
Shoot, I don't know. That is something probably to consider in the future, right?
But yeah, I mean, 10, I kind of feel like a dummy as a coach for not letting him pull more, but he also didn't want more. He turned down my offer to just go ahead and blow up 700, and it was the right call.
Yeah.
It really, probably, I could have talked him to 685 or 690. But also at that point, I'm a meet director. I'm not Austin's coach.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't within my rights and fairness to Chris to say, go pull 690.
Right.
To be honest with you. So I'm happy with the way things shaked out. I'm really, I told you a few weeks ago before they even competed, Chris and his crew have been growing on me.
Mm-hmm.
Chris obviously does something fucking right, because if he has that big of a cult following
mm-hmm.
and that many of his lifters show up for an unsanctioned meet to help him and get him ready, that man's doing something right.
Right.
And on meet day, it is what it is. Like, there's going to be people rub you the wrong way. And I just have a completely new and revived attitude about Iron Empire.
That's cool.
I mean, and I think I've been unfair to him, to be honest with you. I've never been rude.
Right.
I'm not that person. I'm not going to be confrontational on meet day, but
right.
I have been the guy that I can roll their eyes. And, like, I don't think I can be that person anymore, because that guy's cool as a fan blade.
That's cool.
He's fucking awesome. So
I haven't had any real interaction with him, so I can't really say. I called his lifts. All his lifts were good to me.
Yeah.
Looked very, very technically sound.
Yeah.
Obviously he knows what he's doing.
Monster bench press for 170 pounds.
Yeah. It's like was it 400 or 405?
I think his last one, I think, is what he missed. I think he called up 420. Okay. But I think he cleared 405.
Yeah.
No, he waived his last bench. Then his last dead, I think.
He waived his last squat.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
Did he not waive his last bench too?
I don't think so. I think it was for all three.
May have been. And then a deadlift I was wrong about, though. He definitely took his last deadlift because his own teammate gave him thumbs down on his second deadlift attempt.
It was his first.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it was his first. I would know better than you, because I was judging at the time, so I was keeping track of it. But it was his first one.
I had a lot of moving parts that night.
Soft knees.
Yeah, and it is what
I didn't see it.
That's a common call on a sumo puller.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But outrageously fun night.
Yeah, it was super fun. It was a little stressful, I think, on my side, because it was the first time I'd ever judged anything. And there was also a lot of people in my ears. Not going to name names or point fingers, but I do believe there should have been a little more respect shown for the judges that were there, taking time out of their day across the board.
Yeah. To each other and by the crowd.
Yeah. There was a lot of, and like, truthfully, I don't think I made any unfair calls. Everything I did, that's
the best thing you can do.
I said, I don't care who's here, what they're doing. You're
out there giving your teammate thumbs down too.
Yeah, his first squat, I was like, bro, that was high. Like, and he looked at me, he was pissed off, and I was like, bro, it was high. I'm not gonna.
He watches it back and he comes to me and says it was high.
Yeah, he knew he
knew he fucked up.
Yeah, it wasn't me being unfair. Like, I'm gonna give the same level. If Josh Smith had squatted high, he was getting thumbs down.
If I would have squatted high, I was getting thumbs down.
Yep.
It is what it is.
Everybody did really good on their depth except Austin's first squat.
That's one thing I admired about Iron Empire. Christy Hoffmeyer was one of our, I don't remember her last name now. She's got married. I'm sorry. But, I feel like a lot of, not my people, because we had 3 gyms represented there, really. I do work out at the garage, but Coleman Barbell is still a separate entity from the garage. But I feel like all 3 gyms were represented. And like, you have a person from Iron Empire doing the same thing to their people that you were doing to ours. Yep. You know what I mean? You have Austin, who represents both Coleman Barbell and the garage, that, like, he got thumbs down on things he fucked up on. It is what it is. So people can say what they want to, but there was I don't feel like there was any home cooking. Yeah. At all. You know what I mean? Like, by any side, by any of the three people represented. I don't think that was the case. Yeah. So it is what it is.
I think we, for the most part, tried to be as fair as possible. I know I did. I did my best to.
And anything that they said, I'll say this about his crew too. They all have a pretty good bit of experience as judges. Yeah. Maybe not so much one, but Christy in particular is the head judge often. Yeah. She was the director at my meet. She, very, very, very capable person. Just being completely honest, all things else being equal, I trust her opinion about things before I trust anybody's because she's in that seat more than anybody is. So I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Now the fuck up on the dot score was my fault because I announced it early, but it wasn't because, not that I didn't want Austin to win, but it wasn't because of unfairness. It was just jumping the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is what it is, but it went well.
Yeah. It was a fun night overall. Like I said, my perspective, just a little more stress.
Yeah.
That
was stressful for me.
I'm sure it was more stressful for you than it was for me. But overall, I'm excited about another one.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you qualified to actually judge WRPF meets now, don't you?
Do I?
Yeah, I think you have to do 3 or 4.
I think you have to do actual WRPF meets though.
That has to all be WRPF meets. That's fair.
I think you have to be in a WRPF meet.
Steve Sides could definitely judge doing because he does a meet a month. I don't even know what to prep that guy for.
He's doing Ultimate Warrior. Like, when was the last one? Was it the Huntsville? Was it Nightmare?
Yeah.
Nightmare Before Liftmas or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yep. Just like, and then he did the one with you in October or November.
Yeah.
Like,
that was October. Yeah, it was just before my birthday.
I feel like
crazy. Old dude's wild. He's out here just like, I'm going to show up to every meet possible. It's like, bro.
I'm telling you, that dude's going to bring. He broke his 800 this time. He's not going to get 1,000, but he might break 900 this time, which is pretty cool for nearly a 70-year-old man.
Right. Not a lot of 70-year-olds out here willing to do this. I mean, that's why he shows up all the time.
Yep.
Like nobody else is going to do it. I'm going to show up and I'm just going to win all the time.
It takes some big old nuts at his age to get under relatively heavyweight.
For that age and that size.
Dude can deadlift.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Sides at 65, 66 years old will out deadlift most of you CrossFitters.
It's true. It's true.
I'm not bullshitting that. You might get him on. You might get him on squat, and you'll probably definitely get him on bench press. You ain't getting him on fucking deadlift.
Oh man.
You ready for dad jokes?
I did want to mention one more thing, just because we were talking about Andrea, her monster bench press this past, not this weekend, the past weekend. Man, I'm having trouble. Anyway, I know you don't speak with her, but you know of her. Sarah Sobak also competed this weekend. I'm not sure where it was at. But she had a 314 bench press at 143 was her weight, and it was so easy. It moved like, bro. I was like, oh, that's nuts. Like, she is incredibly strong. She also is coming back from injury. I think she said she broke her back.
God,
2 or 3 years ago. And then she got prepped for the American Pro, did the American Pro, did really well. I think she won her weight class when she did the American Pro. And I'm sure she won this time around at whatever this meet was, but she's
it overseas, wherever she's from?
Yeah. I don't think it was in Croatia, which is where she was from. I think she traveled for it, but regardless.
Traveling in Europe's like us going from Alabama to Georgia, though.
Yeah. She is incredibly strong. It was a really good bench press, and I just wanted to bring it up because it was someone that is semi in my circle.
Sure.
I talk to her occasionally. When she posts some cool lifts or something, I'm like, that was fucking dope.
Yeah.
Sometimes we talk about, like, we were playing Baldur's Gate at the same time. I'm still playing Baldur's Gate. But she's really cool. Talking about, she got to meet Joe at the American Pro, and she was like, Joe and Brianni are the best people ever. And I'm like, I can't wait to meet them. And October, as long as everything goes well and they're able to make it. But I do really want to just like give Joe a big hug. Like, sorry for all the shit I put you through. But I'm done. We can do dad jokes.
Yeah, let's do dad jokes. I'm ready to get home to my kid. Can't lie to you.
You hear mine crying and you're like, I can't wait to go back to that.
Man, I love it. I can't lie to you.
I love her. Don't love her when she cries all day.
That's fair.
It's hard sometimes. It's just one of those things you got to put up with.
Dad says jokes. Here we go, baby.
Oh, man.
Who's going to get to it first?
Well, I save all mine, so.
Poop jokes aren't my favorite kind of joke, but they are a solid number 2.
I saw that one today. So I'm not gonna say that one. That one might get us in trouble. A genie granted me one wish, so I said, I just want to be happy. Now I'm living in a cottage with 6 dwarves and working in a mine.
Gotta be careful what you wish for. Be more specific if you ever encounter a genie.
If you are with a genie, you do have to be incredibly specific. They will find a loophole somewhere to make it bad.
I went into Burger King today. The woman serving had a badge on her left breast that said Pat. To cut a long story short, I am now banned from Burger King.
So, I may have said this one, but I'm going to say it anyway. My wife said that I ruined her birthday, but I didn't even know it was her birthday.
I wrote a book on how not to fall down the stairs. It's a step-by-step guide.
So, I like the idea of anal, but in practice, it's just a big pain in the ass.
What does Jeff Bezos do before bed?
Bathes in all his money.
He puts his pajamas on.
He puts his pajamas on.
Pajamas on.
Pajamas on. You gotta say it like that. Pajamas on. Ugh. I was gonna tell some dad jokes at the airport, but when I approached him, he didn't look too friendly.
Did you hear about? Did you hear about the microphone checker that got really drunk? He had one too many.
That's pretty good.
A mummy covered in chocolate and nuts has been discovered in Egypt. Archaeologists believe it to be Pharaoh Rocher.
I found out my girlfriend is really a ghost. I had my suspicions the moment she walked through the door.
Here's another dwarf joke.
Uh-oh.
I got mugged by six dwarfs yesterday. Not happy.
That's pretty good. That's good. That is all I got.
That's all I got. Well, guys. I'm just gonna take that. I'll hit it one more. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, rate us 5 stars, leave comments, follow us on Instagram at Nathan Skedios, at Coleman_barbell, at Sip It and Rip It. Yeah, do those things.
Also, go try these Robert Irving protein bars.
Oh, I saw those at the store. The
badass.
The
Fit Crunch.
Fit Crunch, yep. Yep.
Badass.
Yep. You can get them at Sam's or Costco, by the way.
Or Alpha Nutrition.
Or Alpha Nutrition.
Plug where you can. Plug where you can.
Babe. Yep. All right. Bye, y'all.